Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dal, and this week we see the launch of a massive new event that's going to be amazing for any of you who are into transmog collecting or mount collecting, which, let's be honest, majority of the WoW player base is into one or the other, with the month of July being the best month to help expand your collections. We have a new crossover event with Diablo in World of Warcraft, where you're going to be spawning treasure goblins all throughout Azeroth, which gives you a chance to earn some Diablo themed cosmetics and even some brand new armor sets that you can collect from a new vendor. We also have a massive boost to drops within legacy content, so any of you that have been farming for transmogs or mounts from older raids and older dungeons, this event is there specifically to boost your chances to finally obtain some of the rarest and the most coveted items. So for today's video, I wanted to go over this entire event and go over everything that you should be doing this month specifically so that you don't waste any time and obtain all of the items before they are gone. As always, if you guys want to see more regular updates such as these for the War Within expansion, be sure to follow the channel and subscribe. But otherwise, let's dive right in. So the Greedy Emissary event is a Diablo and WoW cross-promotional event which will be running all throughout the month of July, starting on July 1st, ending on July 29th. With it being a Diablo-themed event, you'll be able to participate in Diablo-themed activities, primarily slaying treasure goblins which will spawn in 3 locations: the Stormwind Docks, the Orgrimmar entrance gate, and Dornogal's southeast city exit, basically near the training dummy area. And the goblins will spawn roughly every 30 minutes, so there'll be a pretty regular activity that'll be happening all throughout the event. You'll also be able to find more treasure goblins in the Undermine, and that will ideally be the best place for you to look for them pretty regularly. Killing any Undermine rare will trigger a portal, spawning more treasure goblins after a minute. Rares will be on a cooldown though, like once you slay a rare, they won't be able to spawn an additional treasure goblin for about an hour or so. So after you've cleared all the rares, you'll just have to come back to Undermine to re-clear them again, and then you can spawn more goblins outside of Stormwind, Orgrimmar, and Dornogal. Also, within Undermine, every 15 minutes, a portal storm will start, and it'll spawn 5 more goblin portals, with these goblins having additional affixes, which means that you'll be able to potentially slay multiple goblins per portal. And that is the big main new draw of the War Within update for this goblin system, and it's the goblin affix system. As you slay a goblin from a portal, you'll be able to get a box full of goodies, and one of those goodies will be elixirs that can be used for future goblin portals. And essentially those elixirs add additional affixes to these goblins, and there's a large variety of them, from goblins spawning arcane overloads that do AoE damage, or goblins will spawn hordes of fallen imps. Maybe they'll conjure explosive orbs, occasionally spawn demonic bovines, or even pull players in up close with a tempest and then attempt to hit players with an arcane gust. And there's so many different affixes out there, but essentially the more affixes you apply to a goblin portal, the more goblins you can spawn. Anywhere between 0 to 2 affixes, you'll be achieving 1 goblin spawn. At 3 and 4 affixes, you'll be summoning up 2 of them, and at 5 and 6 affixes, you'll be summoning 3 goblins out of a single portal. And the idea is you want to kind of overload these goblin portals with as many affixes as possible so you can get the most amount of goblins per spawn. As the more goblins you slay, the more rewards you can collect. So that's kind of the whole purpose of it, is to try to make goblin encounters a little bit more difficult, but since you'll be in a big raid with everybody else, the sizes will be able to overpower these goblins in most cases pretty easily. As you slay goblins, you'll be awarded with a Hellcaller chest. And this is where you'll get a good portion of your rewards from goblins, is from these Hellcaller chests. Your first 10 Hellcaller chests will contain a guaranteed Hellstone shards, which is a new currency added for this event. This chests also contain a variety of other things, like a low drop chance for additional Hellstone shards, Valor Stones, as well as other worldly items, being some of those different elixirs, but also other rewards. As for those actual rewards from the Goblin event, you have the Hellcaller chest containing Hellstone shards, a currency which can then be exchanged at vendors that will be found right outside here in Dornogal, an area between the training dummies as well as the crafters area, market area. Right over here, there'll be a couple of Hell Hunters that will allow you to trade in that currency for armor sets, various different transmogs for a variety of different classes. Very similar to the anniversary sets, we got a recolor of all these sets that has a little bit more of this hellish recolor to them, and we have one of each set available for every single class in the game. Rogues, for example, instead of getting the red Bloodfang set, they get the dark one, the Shadow Slayer armor, which looks absolutely amazing. Paladins are getting this fell version of the Blood Vindicator's armor set. Even Evokers can get the more red Lifebinder armor variation. Death Knights are going from the Frosty Blue Pale Rider to the Grimforged armor. Mages are getting the Emberwind Regalia. Even Priests are getting like a red Hellfire version, the Westman's of Searing Radiance. Another set that I also really like is the Monk set, which gives them this Death Touch battle gear, which looks absolutely sinister compared to the original August Acolyte version. And there's a variety of different color variations and recolors available for every single class in the game, most of them having this kind of like reddish aesthetic or a recolor from the TBC variation of some of these anniversary sets. So all of these sets you'll be able to purchase directly from the vendors. Every single one of them will cost you about 40 of these Hellstone shards, but you can get up to, what is it, like 6 or 8 of these shards per box, and you can get 10 boxes, so you'll be able to buy up these sets fairly quickly. However, you also will be able to get additional loot from all of these goblins on top of it. One of the best ones being the Inarius's Charger mount, which is basically the Tyrael Charger, but with a what is described as a gunmetal recolor for the armor itself. Both mounts will be made available during this event, so that's potentially 2 more mounts that you can add to your collection. Outside of these, goblins can also drop various pieces such as a Blood Warp treasure bag, which is one of the newer items that was added, which looks very similar to the treasure nabbin bag. You also can get pets like Balal's Soulstone, which gives you a goat pet. Variety of unusual cosmetic items like Rit's Fighting Leg, which comes in a variety of different shapes, either as a one-handed mace, a two-handed mace, or an offhand item, so just about every single class can equip it if you want to use it for a transmog. You also got the enmity pieces from the cloak, which are really like the tatters at the tail end, as well as the hood that matches the set as well. There's also a variety of toys like a Nightmare Banner, which places a very Diablo-centric Nightmare Banner. Pretty self-explanatory. We have also a Hearthstone, a unique variation of it that looks a lot closer to the town portal animation that players would use in Diablo to go back to the main city, as well as a Lightstock Axe, which is a unique halberd weapon. Then there's also 36 slot Back to Heraldric Haversack, as well as a 12-string guitar toy, which actually plays Diablo music whenever you play in it. Now, another buff that'll be active during this Goblin event will be the Collector's Bounty, which is something we actually covered on the channel not long ago. Essentially what it does is allows foes within legacy dungeons and raids to find themselves overloaded with extra treasure, and defeating them once more will allow you to collect even more bountiful rewards, which essentially is a massive buff towards any of you that are big into collecting, whether it is transmog or mounts, as it allows you to gain buff rewards from legacy content, which is essentially anything pre-Dragonflight. So think expansion like Shadowlands, Battle for Azeroth, Legion, and anything that came before it, if there is a dungeon or a raid from those instances that comes with additional loot like legendary items, mounts, or transmogs. All of those things will spawn additional items. With the bosses being overloaded with loot, with the event itself raiding, it doubles your chances for transmog loot within legacy content, which a lot of players are assuming right now, and it is assumed at the moment, is you'll basically get double the loot from slaying any of those bosses for Mogs. So if you're like me and for some reason still have not got the shoulders from the Emerald Nightmare raid, specifically the Xavius's shoulders, which look absolutely amazing but have a fairly low drop chance, with you getting double the loot, that's potentially double the chance of you maybe being able to finally acquire some of those must-have items. You will also have increased chances for certain unique items from older content, such as if you're still chasing after the Eye of Sulphurus or the Bindings of the Windseeker, you'll actually have a higher chance to drop any of those legendary items from this event. Some of the other items that also count towards this is the legendary weapons from Illidan, Stormrage, the Warglaives of Azeroth, also part of that list, as well as the Samuel Plateau's, I don't remember which boss is it, apparently killed Jaden, the Thoradal Star's Fury is also on that list, as well as certain unique items like the Legion, Nighthold, Gul'dan, Mythic. There's apparently a Hearthstone toy that you can get from it. It's not part of the actual like drop table or anything like that, but it'll also have a higher chance to drop from this event specifically. Also, any boss that drops a mount within that older content will now have a higher chance to drop that mount. So for example, apparently one of these mounts, either the Fiendish Hell Core or Living Hellfire Core, Infernal Core, one of them is a 1% drop rate. I've talked to a buddy of mine, I think it might be the Mythic version that is now only a 1% drop chance, while this one is a lot lower. So there's a chance for you to be able to get some of those mounts, but it's usually pretty low. But during this event, that chances have been increased. In some cases, players will be either 10 times to 25 times more likely to get any mount drops from older legacy content. So this ends up being the best event for players to farm mounts from older raids and dungeons. And this event is also going to last all month long throughout the month of July. So this will be your best time to pick up as many transmogs and mounts to add to your collections. So anything that you've been farming in the past, or if you've never really farmed before, July might be the best time for any of you that are big into transmogs and mounts. But with that being said, as always, I do want to thank all of you guys so much for watching, and hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did enjoy it or found it informative, go ahead and give it a like. I would very much appreciate it. Also, join our Discord community, especially if you want to keep up with any future major updates for War Within, like Season 3 content. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and as always, I'll see all of you guys in the next one.